Hello, Froggy here, and today I'll be showing you how to get into Niobe Labs using the Quantum Sparrow. We'll be starting in Sojourners camp, looking back at outskirts. The first thing we'll need to do is get a long load. And to do that, we're going to have to go up here, like you might do if you were going out of the map. But we just need to get outside of the preload volume. That way, the game won't quite have everything set up by the time we hit the load zone. So just going to zoom on into there and get off my Sparrow just before the load. As soon as we get through this load zone, should have a Quantum Sparrow set up. And of course, we're going to need a observer in place, so Bachmanetti will be my eyes during this. Doing something a little bit differently for this. Instead of showing you both views, I'm just going to show the relevant one. I'll be using that eye symbol to denote when the observer's view is being used. You may have noticed that I just did a little spin there. That's so that I lose sight of the Sparrow, which allows it to teleport forwards to this location. Now I just need to drag it with me into Sojourners. Since we parked it in the hub, it'll come along when we hit the load zone. I'll be doing that another time to get it into Niobe itself. But first, we need to get over the broken bridge. Luckily, that jump isn't too hard to make, but I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. After all, I still need to get over there. You'll want to set up the fine points of this jump before you actually go for it. That way you can just reset your location by having the observer leave and rejoin. They can line up the jump for you, and then you'll want to go ahead and take their place. It can be helpful to use their Sparrow as a ramp, although it isn't necessarily necessary. You can, in fact, make the jump on your own. But since you have the extra Sparrow, since you need the observer to even be able to move, I'd recommend just setting it up for the jump. For tricky maneuvers like this, I would recommend having your observer die so that you can use their death cam to follow yourself. It's kind of like the good old days of not quite working camera controls in 3D games. There we go. A nice easy jump. Just going to set my Sparrow somewhere nice for getting over the next bit. This was actually one of the first Quantum Sparrow routes that we came up with, and probably still the most useful one. There isn't all that much in the game that requires a wall breach these days, but Niobe Labs is one of them. Just gotta wait for my camera to catch up with me here. As a side note, you could do this with two Quantum Sparrows, taking turns being each other's observers. That would allow both of you to get into Niobe. Getting a better view here. This little maneuver is a little annoying to do, particularly with high latency off of someone else's stream. But we're just going to be jumping over the left side, bumping off of one of the rocks. And there we go. Now we just gotta do another hub transfer and we'll be basically there. When working with the Quantum Sparrow, unless you manage to catch a lot of teleports, you'll be doing a lot of running the same route twice. Just gotta get this load zone transfer here. And now we basically just need to drive right up to the door. I'll wait for my camera to hit the load. And now, just the nice relaxing third-person drive-in. Naturally, this isn't the first time since the great sun setting that we've made our way back into the Niobe Labs area. Closer to the beginning of the Beyond Light expansion, we had the Salvation script breach, which was also able to get us through the thick doors into the puzzle area. You can use the Quantum Sparrow to get into the Bergusia fort itself, but that route's a bit more complicated. Plus, we can just use the fallback point these days. An alternative to using the death cam is simply riding on the Sparrow, but it's pretty easy to get knocked off. We're pretty much at the tail end of this now. Only the door remains. Just gotta line myself up with it. There we go. It may look like I just went through the wall there, but that's coming up in just a moment. Now I can just simply dismount the Sparrow through the wall, which is the whole reason we brought it out here. And there we go. Back into the torment. Of course, we can't actually start it anymore since the button and event are gone. Here's the door to the forge. If you wanted to get in with the Quantum Sparrow, you'd have to do the box break first. See, the button's gone. I think this is actually a slightly earlier build than what the final one was. I've still got some of the weapons, 2 out of the 3, so you can see the symbols are still there. Let's see about the machine gun ones. It's been a long time, of course, since I've actually run this. Oh yeah, I think I remember the machine gun would always be perched up here, so yeah, there we go. See, they still do a little bit of a indicator when you fire at them. And the same thing for the ones on the ground. Although I feel like it looks a little bit different than it did when running the activity, but maybe that's just me. Yep, no button. Anyways, that'll about cover it. I hope you'll enjoy revisiting this no longer used area. As a quick bonus, while I was running around, I noticed that you could fall right through this solid-looking grating, which felt a little bit weird. Well, that's about it.